Okay, picture the absolute chaos of a major emergency. Now, what if the key to saving lives wasn't just more people, but a whole team, a swarm of autonomous drones working together? And no, this isn't some sci-fi movie. We're actually about to walk through a super detailed, very methodical plan that's all about answering one huge question. Can these drone swarms really help first responders when every single second is on the line? All right, let's dive in. So, here's how we're going to break this down. First up, we've got to understand the problem we're trying to solve, that sheer chaos at an emergency scene. Then, we'll get into the proposed solution, the swarm itself, and, how it's even supposed to work. From there, we'll look at the ultimate test it has to pass, some really crucial rules for building trust, and then finally, we'll talk about what this whole thing could mean for the future of public safety. All right, so you might be asking, why even think about something as out there as a drone swarm? Well, to really get it, you have to put yourself in the exact environment they're designed for. We're talking about a massive emergency where the clock is your number one enemy. And this quote just nails the problem, doesn't it? When you're talking about a mass casualty incident, decision time just vanishes, communication lines get totally jammed, and the responders themselves are in huge danger. I mean, think about it. You're forced to make life or death calls with spotty, incomplete information in a place where literally everything is working against you. These are the exact things that keep incident commanders up at night. They're basically flying blind, working with whatever patchy info they can get. Is there still a threat? Where are the victims? Are any of these routes even safe? In those critical moments, the standard tools, the normal procedures, they can get overwhelmed, and they get overwhelmed fast. So with that massive challenge laid out, this is where the proposal brings in a totally new way of thinking, a new operational model built around this idea of swarm intelligence. And this is where the whole idea of a swarm just completely changes the game. Okay, so think about it this way. Right now, when we say drone, it usually means one pilot is totally focused on one device. That's a single viewpoint. And if that one drone goes down, poof, your eyes in the sky are gone. A swarm is a different beast entirely. It's a self-organizing team that just blankets an area, creating this resilient, overlapping web of sensors where one failure, it's not catastrophic. The team just keeps working. So what is swarm intelligence, really? Well, the best way to think about it is like a team of highly trained search and rescue dogs, but with a superpower. They can all talk to each other instantly. They spread out on their own, they automatically avoid bumping into each other, and every single thing they see gets beamed back to one single master map that the incident commander can see in real time. It's a unified picture. Okay, so in a real crisis, here's how it might actually play out. You'd have an initial wave of drones that zips out and maps the entire exterior, just to get an overview. Then, a second wave could go in and do reconnaissance inside a building. If the cell networks are down, no problem. Some of the drones just automatically turn into flying communication towers. And this part is absolutely crucial. There's always a human supervisor in the loop, authorizing the important assignments. The system isn't designed to flood them with 20 different video feeds. No way. Instead, it sends clear, actionable decision cues. Pinpointing marked exits, potential threats, or thermal signatures, all on that one single map. It's all about providing clarity, not just adding to the noise. But look, having a cool concept on paper is one thing. It's not nearly enough. The absolute heart of this research proposal is about putting this technology through the ringer, a real gauntlet of tough, real-world tests designed to find out one thing. Does it actually work when it matters? And this right here is the core principle of the entire proposal. The goal isn't just to show off some cool new tech. It's to hit pause and to ask the really hard questions before this stuff ever gets anywhere near a real emergency. It's a very deliberate move towards responsible, evidence-based innovation, which is pretty refreshing. The whole research effort really boils down to answering three simple but absolutely vital questions. Number one, is it actually faster and better? Can it find victims and hazards more quickly? Two, does it reduce human error? Does it actually lower the commander's stress level and help them make better decisions? And three, is it lawful and admissible? I mean, is the data it collects going to hold up in court or be useful for reviews later on? So how do you even begin to answer those huge questions? Well, the proposal lays out this incredibly comprehensive plan, a whole suite of 7 different studies. And listen, these aren't just lab experiments or computer simulations. Nope, they are designed to be run out in the field during actual first responder training exercises to see exactly how the system performs under real pressure. And these 7 studies are designed to look at this from every possible angle. They're basically grouped into 4 key areas. You've got some that are all about raw performance, how fast can it map a scene? Then others are focused on the human factor. What's the real impact on the commander? Then, of course, you've got system reliability. And what's really important here is that they don't shy away from the tough stuff, like the legal and logistical questions. Just to give you a sense of how detailed this whole thing gets, think about this for a second. How do you actually measure something like a commander's stress? Well, the proposal has a specific plan for that too. It actually calls for using a standardized tool called the NASA TLX. It's a survey that was originally developed for astronauts and pilots, believe it or not, to put a real number on their mental workload. So this chart shows what they think they'll find. The hypothesis, right, is that commanders who are assisted by a swarm will have a much lower cognitive load, basically way less stress, than commanders using the methods we have today. But I really want you to focus on that keyword, hypothesis. This isn't a result. This is the very question the study is designed to test, to either prove or disprove with cold, hard data. Okay, so having technology that works is really only half the battle, right? I mean, this proposal spends a huge amount of time on the non-technical side of things. The frameworks you need for safety, for ethics, and for building community trust right from day one. And these are essentially the guardrails to make sure everything is done right. The plan calls for super strict data rules, of course, full compliance with FAA regulations, and really robust safety protocols. For instance, there's a designated safety officer who has the absolute power to halt the test at any moment. It also requires something called scientific pre-registration, which is a fancy way of saying you can't change the rules of the game or move the goalposts after an experiment has already started. And this is so important. It doesn't stop there. It extends out to the community. The proposal actually outlines clear steps for engaging with the public, everything from setting up advisory groups and having community observers at demonstrations, all the way to auditing for fairness if the tech is ever deployed, and, this is a big one, publishing the findings in plain, easy-to-understand language. All right, so after all of this work, all of these studies and safeguards, what's the ultimate goal here? Well, it really just comes down to getting clear, defensible answers. The entire point of this whole effort is to generate one thing: hard evidence. And not the kind you get from computer simulations, but evidence from real-world training exercises, collected in a way that other people can reproduce and that will actually be admissible in a court of law. So what's the payoff? If this research actually gets done, public safety leaders will get real, tangible answers. They'll be able to put a number on time saved. They can measure the actual impact on command decisions. They'll understand the legal ground they're standing on. And they can go to city leaders with a clear, data-backed cost-benefit analysis. The paper wraps up by saying that all of this, all 7 studies, all the protocols, all the safeguards, it should all lead to a clear answer to one very simple but incredibly powerful question. And that final question is this: do swarms measurably reduce harm while also protecting people's rights and the safety of the responders themselves? This proposal doesn't pretend to have that answer. Not at all. What it does is provide a rigorous, responsible, and evidence-based roadmap for how we can all find it out.